like even my son, he's an eighth grader. He's playing in the junior EYBL circuit. They played in the May hoops last year. They ended up going to Atlanta and winning their little thing that they had out there. He had 30 in a game. Well, Jasper Johnson actually got the coach's game, and he dropped 30 in that game, which was awesome for him. But like the skill set level is definitely there. But if you could combine the skill set level and the IQ with what we used to have in the past, if you could find a way to merge skill and aggressiveness, I think that's a product that you could see your viewership go up. And I don't think you can see the viewership coming up to where it's headed to right now. And then, man, what's up with all the coaches getting fired? You have I love Doc Rivers, don't get me wrong. I think Doc is a phenomenal coach. Never had the chance to meet him personally. I got to sit on a few of his clinics before online where they sign you up as college coaches. There's always coaching clinics going on. If you can't make it to whatever event, whether they're in Vegas or Chicago or LA, wherever they're at, you can't make it, you can actually sign in and tune in. So I've been a part of some of that, but I've never, been able to meet him personally. Doc's done a great job where he's been, but you got a guy that has Giannis going to the finals every other year, and you get rid of him. You got the coach from Toronto who ends up winning and becomes the coach of the year, and then the next year you fire him.
That was one of the crazy. Besides Lovie Smith, who went going 10-6 in the NFL, then getting fired. I thought the Toronto Raptors coach winning coach of the year to get fired the next season was one of the craziest fires that I've ever seen in history. It was crazy. And they only fired him because he lost to LeBron again right before. Was it in the semifinals or in the conference championship? And they fired him because of that. Just because he couldn't make it to the final.
And it was because that's what they said. They said they needed someone to get him over the top.
Yeah.
That sounds like that they were trying to find someone to get him over the top. But you took a program like that, Toronto. That's kind of like how Memphis was. Memphis has never won a ship ever. So, if you could find anybody to come in here and win or get you to the finals, and then the following year you get rid of them, I think we'd have an uproar over here. We just want to get the chance to, we're one of those programs where if you could just get us to the playoffs every couple of years, we're excited. We're so excited just to make it to the playoffs, let alone taking us to a conference final or shoot the championship game. Like that would just be phenomenal for us, in the city. So I could never see how that is, and I think that's the stuff that starts to trickle down, where these players realize that, they don't have a reason to be loyal. And I understand it. I understand where the players are, that, guys like that have always done what was best for them financially. He didn't always have to chase the dream of getting a ring. He had a family he has to take care of and started to focus in on that at an early age. And it gives him the opportunity to have a lot more freedoms now than to just keep, ring chasing, taking less money to go do that. But he was one of those guys who kind of did it the right way as far as being able to plant seeds and then grow out of there. You see, though, that even with a guy like that who would be loyal to you, I've seen him get traded. I see him get moved. One day, I remember training him one day we're with Brooklyn, and then the next day he's with the Bulls, or he's in Toronto. Like, it's crazy, to see how fast they move on these guys. And so, as a fan, I hope that they would take that into consideration more than just a coach. But as a fan, I hope that they would start to see what these trades affect their viewership. If you could find 7-8 guys that could play together, keep that core together, and start adding pieces that you needed to be able to dominate. I think the last group that did that was Golden State, and you're starting to see when Clay left. If they would have kept KD, could have figured it out, and Draymond would have not been so argumentative and so egotistical, I think that would have been a legacy where the dynasty of that program could have branched off into other teams to figure it out. Hey, if the Golden State Warriors did it through drafts, then we need to do it through drafts as well. And then when KD left, it kind of just pulled the plug on all of the greatness for consistency over there. And then, they did get to win another one, but, you're sitting there watching and going like, wow, that would have been great to keep that going. Maybe guys would have been able to stay in their programs or had that. Like Giannis is still with Milwaukee, keeping Milwaukee on their back. If Giannis leaves Milwaukee, are you really going to are you going to watch them play?
Yeah, like it's and going back to the
it would
coaches,
take
like you were
another year
saying, how
to
they
be able
fired
to get
Mike.
themselves, and if not, they're done.
Yeah, when how they fired Mike with Sacramento, he's right about to get on the plane. But another thing, as you talk about viewership and tradition with the NBA, when I was a kid, uh, the NBA teams had the same coaches for years. For years.
100%. Joe Jackson's,
Yeah, even
Pat Riley's, yep.
when you thought of a team, you knew exactly who the coach was. Knew who the coach was. You know, think like I can't even think of his name, but I always remember that the Atlanta Hawks had the same coach, and they had the shorter, no, light skinned coach, and they had Mookie
Yeah,
Blaylock,
Lionel, and fuck is Lionel. I think it was called Lionel something.
and
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can fact check me, but I know who you're talking about. Lionel, because yeah, Nate McMillan played for Portland at the time. I know who you're talking about. Cause he kind of like red, kind of his hair was a little. Kind
yeah,
of like,
he was kind of shorter, light skinned guy, had a gray hair.
yep.
But
But I
I
mean,
just
you
know
have that consistency with it.
as a kid, like Jerry Sloan with the Utah Jazz, like you knew exactly who the coach was for those teams. Like you just rarely hear about coaches getting fired all the time. It was like you knew, except for like Doug Collins getting fired in 2 years with the Bulls, that was crazy. But like most of the teams had the same coach. It was like you said, a tradition thing. And even now with the viewership, I think them taking NBA off of regular TV, where everybody can see it, and putting it on all these streaming, has taken away from viewership as well.
Okay, I'll give you that. I can give you that.
Yeah,
I can
because
see
you
that.
could
I mean,
you
the
could
same
go
thing with
watch the
football.
Bulls on WGN or local TV, but now a lot of these NBA games you can't see on local TV.
You're right. Football too. You know, you have to get Thursday night. You know, you have to have Prime. Sunday, you have to have the ticket. You like YouTube TV, which doesn't carry Thursday night's game, and then ESPN, I think, or local channels carry Monday night's game. So you have to find three different streams to just be able to even watch the football, and that's what 17 to 18 games before the playoffs. So I can see what you're saying with that. I could see how that could be more challenging, but like the product in itself, I just feel like the product that is being watched, it's great for social media and TikTok when you get highlights, you know, and he dropped 50, but did you realize he shot 100 shots? Like that's not exciting to me when you get to go watch the game in
Right.
itself. And as a place that has an arena like the FedEx Forum, you know, you want to be able to have a great product. And the other thing is, I hate that guys don't play every game. Like that's so frustrating to me. I went to go see so I took the kids to go, and we have floor seats like seat 1, 2, and 3 to go watch Joker play the Nuggets play the Grizzlies. Ja was out because Ja was still hurting from whatever ailment that he had. And then Joker, I think, had that situation going on with the family, and then I think his wife something happened with his wife. Maybe they had a baby. I don't remember what the
Yeah, I think they
storyline
had a
was.
baby.
But Joker was out that game, so you were watching. You spent a ton of money to go sit on the floor, which those tickets are ridiculous. Lucky for me, I've got with the restaurants, I've got a company that gave me 3 seats because I know I can't afford those seats because those are like $6,000 a pop for a ticket. And God bless them for giving us that. I appreciate that. Shout out to our liquor company. But you know, I would never get the chance to see that. But I wait every year to get those 1 seats. And I was waiting to circle the calendar. That's the one guy I wanted to see was Joker play and see how, you know, his size, see how he actually got the flow of the game and what he could do against Jaren Jackson. And then he didn't play. And then, of course, anytime that Ja's on the floor, he's so exciting. Him and Dane are so exciting, like you were talking about. And they didn't play. So now you got a lot of games where you're not watching elite talent play. You know, a lot of times LeBron won't come to Memphis even if they're on the schedule, or he won't play. And so, you know, you want to be able to at least watch those main superstars go at it. You know, they played for Christmas Eve. Curry played LeBron on Christmas night, but the rest of the night, you know, the rest of the week, the rest of the time, you get paid $43 million a year. You expect to be able to have them show up to the, you know, to the small arenas and showcase their talent as well, because we want to see them just as bad as they do back in LA. You know, and the money that costs is still the money that it costs here. So I don't know what's going to happen with the NBA. I don't know where that's going to. I'd love to hear more people. I'd love to hear feedback on what they think about the NBA, other than just hating, but like actually have some real basketball minds come up with some real solutions. You know, Pete Armstrong. Shoot, PJ Armstrong. That's that.
Come on, BJ. BJ Armstrong.
No, the point guard from the Bulls. He has a podcast that he does. I like listening to him, and I used to like to listen to the Lakers coach when him and LeBron did their cast. I thought he was pretty good too.
Oh,
Um,
JJ Redick. Yeah.
but you just see, you want to see what they're going to do. Now they know what the problem is. What's the solution?
Right.
Do people really like watching the NBA? Is it still about that? I mean, I think my kids, if I asked any of my kids that I coach at the middle school or high school level, at the college level, have you watched a full basketball game? I would be amazed outside of the playoffs if anybody watched a full game, like beginning to end, got their popcorn, had their soda, and you was ready to watch from the beginning to the end. That was an actual basketball player. I don't think they watch the games from beginning to end anymore. I think they wait to scroll on TikTok and social media and get the highlights. Like, they don't want to watch the whole game. They just want to see who had 50, who had scored this, who did that, and then they're out the day. I think it's the average fan, the guy that's sitting around playing 2K, gets off of work at 5 o'clock, gets on the game for a little bit, might watch the game. Like, that's becoming few and far between. But the basketball players, the hoopers of the world, I don't think they watch film. I don't think they watch the NBA. And I wouldn't even want them to really watch the NBA, to be honest with you. If my team asked me to go look up something, I'll probably show a few drills to showcase of how to get open, what moves that are good about finishing, why I tell you to do X, Y, and Z. But I'd much rather them watch somebody else play. I love watching Houston basketball. As crazy as it sounds, the Houston Cougars, if you want to be a coach and you have no experience whatsoever, you want to get out there and you want to start just winning games, and you don't have a ton of talent on your team, if you will imitate what the Houston Cougars do defensively, I think you could be competitive right off the rip. So I don't know. I remember having this conversation when I left Lamar Owens College. It was because I got a telephone call. We were in Atlanta. I got a telephone call from my son. His coach had quit his team, and it's like this. Like, it was right before the Christmas break 2 years ago. So they're going into the Christmas break. They got a ton of games during that period of time, and he has no middle school coach. And so here I am helping out Lamar Owens, and we're in Atlanta, leaving the Morehouse College, and I get this telephone call that, hey, Dad, I got no coach. What do you think about asking to join the team or help us coach? It's like, son, we're on we play Morehouse, you play Clark, Atlanta, you're probably going to play Tuskegee or Savannah. So you're on like a 12-day trip anyway on your bus, and you're not getting back to the city anytime soon. And I get the call, and I tell him, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. And his coach, the guy that was there, left, the assistant coach, and told him, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Would you, I'd love to help you out. Heard you don't need it. Heard you needed somebody. He was like, can you show up tomorrow? Because we have a game. Like, this is Saturday night. It's like, we got a game at like 1:45 tomorrow. I'm like, I'm in Atlanta. And talked to coach, the athletic director at the time, William Anderson, and had that conversation with him. He's like, bro, you're never gonna have another opportunity to coach your son again. If you got a chance, do it. So, I was on the first flight smoking back to Memphis. Got to coach this game. Got to help out a little bit. And we were like the bad news bears. I'm talking about if we were lucky enough to go 500, we had a successful season. Like, winning 30% of your games was average, and that was great. 10% was kind of a bad year. Winning 30 was a successful year. I remember the first year that we finished, that first year that there was already half of the season was already gone. The end of the banquet was like, they put out like a tray of cookies for the kids in the gym and was like, hey, congrats. Like, nobody cared about the program whatsoever. And when we had left, we finished with the next year. We ended up having the best record that the school ever had for the most wins, back-to-back years, had made it the furthest that it ever had. And then we ended up finishing second in the state 2 years running. Ranking-wise, we finished second best in the state. The only team that we lost to was the team that won state, which was Elmore Park, and I think they ended up going like 60-0. They're like on a 70 game win streak as a program. Like, they're like 72-0 right now. They haven't lost a game in like like 3 or 4 years at the middle school level. I say all that to say this. What I did was I had very little talent as far as skill-wise. I didn't have a lot of time to get caught up. But playing defense the way the Houston Cougars play defense and how the tenacity that they have, their ability to be able to recover, the way that they help each other on defense, the energy that they have from beginning to end. I mean, if you want to be a coach and you want to get out there and you have no experience whatsoever and you want to turn around a program instantly, watch the Houston Cougars play. Watch them on the defensive side, and I could tell you if you could imitate that, it doesn't matter how many skilled guys you have that can score threes or play or whatever can create for themselves. You can turn instant defense into instant offense. So I love watching them play. I could not tell you that I would ever tell any of my guys, hey, let's go watch Golden State play defense and let's imitate their defensive structure. Like even their man-to-man principles. Like I'm not telling them to play the NBA way. I'm telling them college is the way to go. And then even some of the the European style play, maybe a little bit more, just how that they're able to communicate and be aggressive leaders on the floor. So I just can't see the NBA really changing its course. I mean, you can't change the tiger stripes, and that's kind of what it feels like here recently. And I don't know who's going to be tasked with that, but I would love to see somebody step up and change the NBA. I'd love to see somebody debate me on why they think the NBA is way more a better product than college basketball, March Madness for playoff basketball. And you take the top 10 teams, top 25 teams, and you take the top 15 teams from the NBA and play them every night. I mean, I think you're going to love to watch the rivalry games. And, we just had one this week. Ole Miss played Memphis. Going back to what we were talking about originally and how players, coaches were always the same coaches, players were always the same players. The rivalries that you see at the college level in the SEC, when you see Alabama play Tennessee or Auburn, play Georgia, and you see, Ole Miss and Tennessee, you just see that rivalry. What do they call it? Like I forget what the name, but there's actually a name for Ole Miss playing Mississippi State. The something bowl. But anyway, it's just always that rivalry. If you could spark that back, I think that would really help excited about the product that's being put out there. So I don't know if you have any connections, Nate, to any of those guys up there, but if you do, interview them and be like, hey man, y'all just start producing a better product, because the rest of us really want to watch something better than that.
Right.
Just do what college does.
No, I think you're absolutely right about that. I think we're gonna end right there too, Coach T. Like I just want to thank you, man, for giving me your time. I know you're a busy guy, and that was just been an amazing interview and talk, sports talk. And just thank you so much. Love you, brother, for just taking out the time to sit down and talk with me.
Man, thank you so much, Nate. I love you, and I gotta say this, like, for whoever is listening, man, I have been able to walk beside you on this journey. From where you started to where you're at and where you're going, and I just want to tell you, I'm so impressed. The things that you've been able to do, the people that you've been able to help. I don't know how much the listenership really realizes how you've impacted so many people on a personal level, so many different family members, and how you just have this amazing heart to give back. Man, if you can get, like, people who are listening, if you're not, like, listen and like and subscribe, because this young man's going places. I've seen where he started, I've seen where he is, and man, like, if you want to watch a great story, another venture in life, you got to stay tuned in to Nate and seeing what the Swoop world is going to end up doing, because I've loved watching to be able to keep up with you, and everything that I've been able to do in life. I mean, I've enjoyed it and I love it. But at the same time, watching you take your steps and seeing that, it feels like I get to relive some of those events with you. And man, I'm so impressed. I really am. So I hope, I wish you the best of luck. And, hopefully you have me back on sometime. And God bless whoever who's listening. And Happy New Year. And see if we can't connect real soon.
Love you, brother, and have an amazing day.
All right, brother. Love you too. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
All right, bye.